I'm ready to dive in and do some shading. And I have some planning to do before I dive into the shading because there's a lot of choices to make. So if I'm thinking of these shapes inscribed within this larger shape, right, I can think of these spaces as negative spaces and leave them alone for now. I'll leave them the white of the paper for now, but I'm thinking like a 6H, like a really light value, so that this whole square stands out from the larger picture plane. But for now, I'm going to leave it the white of the paper, and then just treat these inner inscribed shapes as the positive space. So if I'm using the compound shape interactions in this area, then if this is a penetration, if this shape and this shape are penetrating one another, then I can leave this white and this can be a dark. I'll just put D for dark. Okay, so now I have again some decisions to make about how to proceed. I was going to make this a value, but I like it white, and I'm imagining a white, and then this is just contiguous. And then the negative space, not this stays white, and then the negative space is a very light 6H. But the only way to know is to try it and see what it looks like. So I'm going to call this done for now. I like that it's not centered on the page, so it's a little off to the left. And really the point of interest for me is that square, which is in following the rule of thirds. I didn't plan that, I just sort of eyeballed it, but I guess when you're making art for multiple years, you start sort of making decisions without really thinking about it. So what was really interesting to me learning or viewing the compound shape interactions was it gave me a lot of choices to think about as I was playing with my shapes. So rather than randomly playing with shapes and just looking and experimenting with overlay or just kind of trying to discover what looked good, I was also thinking logically about what would this interaction look like if I applied specifically a compound relationship such as detached or penetrating or overlapping. And so as I was thinking about using those compound shape interactions, the choices really became unlimited. Okay, so it could be overwhelming, but at the same time, it's like a language. It gives you a very specific direction to think about in your imagination if you understand the concept of putting one thing next to another and then something happens. And so you can imagine what that thing is that's happening before you commit, because this took me hours to shade, and I wouldn't have shaded it if I didn't really like it, because I wouldn't have wanted to invest that much time just because. So with your compound shape interactions, this is actually a inscribed shape assignment. So I did a set of compound shape relationships inscribed within a square. You guys can just have fun. play around, see if you can discover some interesting shape interactions with your inscribed shape assignment. And I don't expect you to shade it this well, but just practice your shading. Try to pick two, or I would say try to pick at least 3 values and the white of the paper as an aspect. So you end up having 4 different values, and see if you can solve the problem of where to apply those values with those compound shape relationships within an inscribed shape. Or I have a series of inscribed shaped actually. So like the square is inscribed within this circle, but in addition to that, there's also compound shape relationships occurring. So the fun part is once you have something formal like that, I took the time to spend a couple of hours on this drawing, shading this in, but now it gives me the opportunity to really be able to envision some other options. I think this is pretty. I love having the outline around this area. I'm not going to do that on this drawing. I'll probably leave this drawing the way it is, but I'll probably do another drawing where then I implement this outline right on top of it. Or I like the idea of the Royal Enfield itself, cutting out these shapes. So these kinds of designs within the outline of the Royal Enfield with the white space, just crisp white, right? So there's literally unlimited options. If you can come up with one or two objects that you create outlines for that are interesting to you, and just create some crisp outlines, and then on tracing paper, and just keep overlaying them and trying different things, you can come up with unlimited designs.